What's up everyone? So I decided to make a video on how to save $1,000. Recently I read an article about how 61% of Americans would not be able to cover an emergency that was more than $1,000, and I think that's just, ridiculous that we're not able to do that. And given certain circumstances, it's understandable, but 61% is way too high. So I decided, today we're gonna learn about how to save $1,000. So let's go.
Are you working? What kind of work do you do?
Alright guys, so the first step is to actually want to save $1,000. Sounds kind of weird, but this is a thing that you need to actually want to save $1,000. Just saying that I want to save $1,000 isn't going to cut it. So we need to have the right mindset before we start taking the steps to save that first $1,000. And the next step is to set a goal. So for us, our goal is to save $1,000 in 1 year. So that's going to be our long-term goal. Our short-term goal is to save about a little bit under $100 a month. This is great because now $1,000 sounds like a lot of money and sounds difficult to save, but saying, hey, I just need to save a little bit under $100 doesn't sound as bad. For our short-term goal, we want to figure out how can we save $100 a month to ultimately get to our long-term goal. So there's a few ways you could do this. You can get a part-time job, find and sell things around the house, help your parents with stuff, maybe they can give you some extra cash. Just finding out ways to make that extra $100. Another thing is a lot of people get weekend jobs or jobs in the summer. So during the summer months, we want to make sure that we're saving more money. So maybe that's instead of doing $100 a month, that we ramp it up to doing $200 a month opposed to doing our 100. So then when it comes to fall or seasons that, we're not working our part-time jobs, it's a lot easier to get to our goal and we don't feel so stressed out about not making that full $100. So this next one might sound kind of obvious, but it's to have a savings account. It's really hard to save money without a savings account. A lot of people I know will try to use their checking account to save money, but that's just not going to work as well. The reason is if you have $1,000 in your checking account and you want to make a purchase for $70, you're not even going to really realize that you made that purchase, or $70 is nothing compared to $1,000. And so that's why when I'm using my account, I want to keep $100 in my account. I'm going to be a lot more cautious when I'm making that purchase because that's almost all of my money in that account opposed to if I had $1,000. For your savings account, there's a few things that you can do. You can go to your traditional bank and you can open up a savings account there, and the interest rate is pretty low. And I don't like to do that because I feel so tempted to move the money from my savings account to my checking account all the time. It's so easy and I just really don't like that. That's actually kind of a negative to having a savings account. So what I like to use is these things called an online savings account. Discover, Ep.1, Synchrony, Goldman Sachs now. All these banks have an online savings account, which the interest rate's a little bit higher. It can be anywhere between 1% and 2%. And you might be thinking oh, well, whatever, 1% to 2%, that's not very much. And, it might not sound like a lot, but at the end of the year, if you have $2,000 in your account, that's a full month of Netflix just for doing nothing and leaving your money in there. Also, one thing I like is that it takes 3 business days for my money to go from my online savings account to my main checking account. And that might be a downside, and people are like, oh my gosh, but I can't get my money easily. Well, it takes 3 days, and most of the time I'm not making a purchase over $1,000 where I didn't think about it for 3 days. And so for me, it works out really well, and it's a nice benefit to be able to not having that money so easily accessible where I'm going to spend it. So the fourth thing is budgeting. And budgeting might sound really scary, but it's not. So basically budgeting is just figuring out what is our income and figuring out how much of that income is going to different places and using that remaining amount to put towards our savings account. And then also what I like to add into my budget is an allowance. And the allowance is the ability to spend, for me, is $100 every 2 weeks on anything I want. That way I don't really feel guilty about wasting my money on or buying something on Amazon that I probably shouldn't have bought but I wanted. And for the money that's left over in the allowance, I just roll that over to the next month or the next 2 weeks. And when I do my budget, I budget every 2 weeks. So then, as soon as it's payday, I know how much money is going everywhere. A lot of people like to do monthly budgets. I provided a budget down below, so you can use that link and then let me know what you think in the comments. Alright guys, so that's it. I hope you liked the video. Let me know about your progress if this helped down in the comments. I'm going to be making more videos along the way. If there's anything you want to see, also let me know. But for the meantime, that's it.